Welcome to another fantastic tutorial. Today we are going to learn the basic raw image retouching in Photoshop. So for the purpose of this tutorial we are going to take this image of the Lotus temple, which is a very famous tourist place in New Delhi, India. So let's get started. And before we go any further, I would like to remind you that if you have not already subscribed to this channel, that way you are not going to miss any video from this channel, because you're going to learn lots of things from this channels on photography, Photoshop and many how-to videos. Let me just open this file, and this is going to open in Adobe Camera Raw since it is a raw file. So basically, first of all, let me resize it a little bit. And now, first of all, we can adjust the white balance from here. So if I go for auto, you can see it has made the image a little warmer, which I don't want. So I'll go for edge short, and that gives me the proper white balance. Since if you are shooting with the auto white balance setting in your DSLR or camera, that gives you most of the time the perfect white balance. So next is a tint. I can adjust the tint, okay, like this one. I can make it greener or purple, but I want to go for that. I like the natural colors, okay. And now let's the option is go for auto, and that way, as you can see, it has added loads of exposure to this image, which I don't want. As you can see, it has also adjusted other settings. All right, so I'll bring down the exposure back, maybe something around here, and this one is looking good and perfect. Leave everything as it is, but if you want, you can increase the contrast, okay, and that would give you some extra details. And let's open up the shadows a little bit more so that we can see some details over here. All right, I think this one is good, and let's bring down the exposure a little bit, I think, okay. And okay, leave the contrast as it is. And now let's increase the clarity slider to around 15, and that way we'll be having more details, okay. And let's increase the vibrance, because I like saturated colors but not that much. Leave the saturation. I don't recommend using saturation, because that would give you some ugly colors and colors banding in your image. Now let's come to the details panel, and now we'll mask it out and we'll do the selective sharpening. So this slider is for masking. If you'll press and hold Alt or Option, then it will show you the real-time mask. That means wherever there is a black color, the sharpening will not be applied, and wherever there is a white color, sharpening would be applied. So you can drag it to get the result you want, okay. And in this case, I want only sharpening to be applied on the edges, and using this sharpening amount panel or slider, I can adjust the sharpening. And this is for noise reduction. I always do it around 1820 depending on the image, since this image is very clean, shot in the daylight. So whenever you are shooting in the daylight, you are less likely to get any grains or the noise in your image. All right, and next come over here on the lens correction panel and select enable lens profile correction. All right, and the moment I'll do it, you can see it has corrected the lens distortion. You can see on the edges. All right, and next is color. Select remove chromatic aberration. That way it is going to remove if there is any purple fringe on the edges of certain parts of the image. Alright, and next is come to the effects, and using this post crop vignette of vignette, you can add the vignette effect or take it away. So at the moment we are not going to do that. Alright, and now let's come back to the basic panel, and over here, since our sky is looking very dull and boring, we can bring out the details in the sky using the highlight slider. So if I drag this slider towards the left side, you can see it is taking away the highlights, and it has given some details in the sky, but it has also taken away the highlights from the main subject, which is the Lotus temple over here. So we don't want that, so we'll use another option to do that, and another option is using the graduated filter. Alright, so we'll select graduated filter, and now we'll click and drag it down. Alright, maybe around here, and using this temperature slider we can give it a blue temperature, and that way the sky would look more blue, and that looks really good. And we can adjust the exposure, so I'll bring down exposure a little bit, around minus 55%, and these settings are lastly applied, so they are there. So let's bring down or increase the contrast. Okay, and this time we have the option of the highlights, so we'll drag it back to minus 100%, and that way what it is going to do, it is going to take away highlights from the sky, and now our main subject's highlight, which is the Lotus temple, has remained intact. And if you want, you can adjust the shadows if you don't want your sky to be that darker. Alright, and if you want, you can increase the clarity so that you get some more details in the clouds. Alright, and you can also adjust the saturation, sharpening, noise reduction, and all that. We don't need it over here. Alright, I think leave it as it is, and that way it is looking good. And now press open image. So thank you so much. This was the basic raw image retouching in Adobe Photoshop and using the Adobe Camera Raw filter. And if you have any question, you can leave that in the comment section below. And if you like it, please don't forget to hit the like button, and please subscribe to my channel for more videos. And do apply whatever you are learning from this channel and from my videos onto your own images, and try to share them with me on my private Facebook group, which is called the Lens of You, and you can find a link to that in the description section below. And if you want to support the channel, you can buy some of my pro tutorials, which you can get with a huge discount, and there is a link to that in the description section below. So thank you so much. See you in the next episode.